Hello. All right, let's get some music going, why don't we? Sounds good to me. Hi, Trademark. Yay! Thank you, Peter. Good morning it is, Justin. Good morning, Dark Eagle. Good morning, Yami. Let's make sure we start doing the things. Good morning, Geronimus. Hello. Newshound. Hope everybody's doing good today. It's a morning. My husband picked it, Matt. I thought it was great too. I'm just celebrating America's 250th. No, Geronimus, never. I would never. For those on YouTube and Twitch, I know you can't. It's what I'm playing, just so you know. No, completely unrelated. Absolutely nothing to do with the Supreme Court decision. I would never do that. As we come in this morning, guys, let's make sure we're doing all of the good things. Let's tap that screen up, share the live out, do your daily heart. If you haven't done so, you know I will go through my little spiel with you anyway, but yeah. Yeah, they're gonna be coping and seething hard today, I have a feeling. It's gonna be a tough one for them today. Yesterday's mail-in ballots wasn't any better, so yeah. Can we bring back bandanas and jean jackets as fashion statements? Yeah. Yeah. You can wear what you want. You lead the charges, crazy Eli. Hi, our Baron. Buenos dias. I didn't say for me, just in general for men. Hi, Ari. Aw, knick-knack, it doesn't matter what our Baron thinks. Thank you so much, Brother Mod. It doesn't matter what our Baron thinks, it matters what SCOTUS thinks, and SCOTUS ruled today, so we'll talk about it. The music is too loud. It's Bruce Springsteen, it's never too loud. You can have opinions, but it doesn't matter. I don't care about your opinions, I care about the law. Good morning, good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. I appreciate you guys being here today on this Titties Out Tuesday. Yes, knick-knack, you can totally disagree with SCOTUS opinions. There are SCOTUS opinions that I disagree with as well. The thing is, I don't see the point in having that discussion because it's not going to get changed. But we will talk about that. Guys, if you are watching over on TikTok, I would appreciate it if you would tap that screen. We like to hit 50,000 likes before the SCOTUS. Nick Knack. You said SCOTUS also said we are a Christian country. Do you agree? Can I please get the case with which they ruled that? I would love to see where they ruled that. Can I have the case? Can I have the case? Give me the case. I would love the case. Anyway, guys, tap that screen. I would like to get to 50,000 likes before the top of the hour. I know you guys can get to 100,000, so I know you guys can do it. I would appreciate it if you guys use those fingers. Remember, it is a side effect that the taps benefit me. I for sure, I bet I know what she's talking about. Oh, God, and the laughing faces. That's crazy. The side effect is the benefit for me of the taps, but it really is for you. Remember, I do this for you so that your partners know what those fingers do. I'm just giving you practice. Just remember that. It's just like a side effect benefit for me. So make sure you're doing that. Share out the live, repost it, especially before I start playing videos. Add it to your story. Share it to 5 of your friends. Do not spam the copy link button. But please share it out. I would appreciate it. If you have not done your daily heart me, please do so. You should already be following me. Duh. So that heart should not be grayed out. It should be gold, and you need to click it. Send your daily heart me for the day. It gives you access to stickers in the chat, a lot of fun ones of my face, and little things that I also say. I would appreciate it if you guys did that. Hi over there on YouTube. If you are just coming in and have not hit that thumbs up button, please do so. It helps push us out onto the algorithm. You can subscribe to me over there. You can become a member over there. You can send jewels and super chats, especially if the chat starts getting too fast and you have something you would really like me to read. It shows up in a big bold color. Not only does it help, pay my bills, but it does help in me reading your message. And hello, my lovely Twitch folks over there. I see you guys. Make sure you are following me. You can also subscribe if you pay for Prime. Jeff Bezos allows you to get 1 free Prime sub a month. Why not use it for moi? I would appreciate it. You guys can send bits over there, and if you do subscribe, you get access to the emotes, which are similar to the same stickers we have over here on TikTok. Guys, I have my 100 goal that I have every single day. This is my job. This is what I do for a living. You guys might not like that, or some of you might not like that, but my community loves it, and they crowdfund to pay for a woman's labor up in this bitch, and we love that for them. So we can always do dollar trains, $2 trains, whatever to start getting this down. Guys, please don't forget I'm going on vacation next week, so this is, besides Monday, you will see me Monday, but besides Monday, this is it for me this week. So yeah, we love that for Nick Knack. Are we shocked? Nick Knack did not cite the case that said SCOTUS ruled that we are a Christian nation, but made the claim. I love when you guys believe things in your big fifis. But guys, I am going on vacation next week, so let's really start getting this down. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, all in the link tree in my bio. I'd appreciate it. And getting us started today, thank you so much, is Joseph for the $20 for Taco Tuesday. Do I not know how to look stuff up? I absolutely the fuck do, but I don't look up claims that you made, that you believe, and you didn't do it. But if you would like to pay me, I would love it. A good $10 probably, maybe $10 for me to look up your fucking claim that you made, which means that you believe it without being able to cite it. That's very interesting, Nick Knack. All right, but thank you so much. Can I get W's to Joseph for the $20 for Taco Tuesday, getting us started today? So we are sitting at 80. We love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It means we don't get our fabulous number today, but maybe, well, that's not how that works. I did 20 in my head, so that's not math. Leave me alone. But maybe we can get to our favorite number in the reverse, the way that we like it. We can definitely do that, okay? All right, we did the roses. We can work on the community hearts while we're sitting here, and we will get started today. We're going to go through SCOTUS cases. I don't have headlines on the, transgender athletes cases. What I will say is what I told you guys yesterday, and I said to brace for it. I said these are not going to go our way. Based off of what we were covering this morning in CAS with law, the issue is going to be the determination of how they're setting up their bathrooms. If their school policy is setting up the bathrooms by biological sex, then it is going to be very restrictive and very discriminatory, and that they are allowed to do so because of their policies. But I expected that decision, so I really don't have much on it. We kind of knew that was going to be where that went, unfortunately, and I can disagree with it, Nick Knack. I can disagree with it, but that's the law, and so that's what we have to follow in way of that case. If cases come up again in the future, that can always be overturned. The thing is I agree with what Law and Cass said, which is that the cases that were chosen to be appealed all the way up to SCOTUS were not strong cases. They just weren't. So I'm not shocked by that. Yeah, I'm gonna get into that. Not Chip Roy specifically, Lenati, but I am gonna get into that with Johnson claiming it. It's gonna be hilarious. Okay, so we kind of knew that decision was gonna happen. I want to talk about this decision before we get into the one that I know we all want to talk about. But that is that a 6-3 Supreme Court strikes down federal limits on how much money political parties can spend in coordination with individual candidates, agreeing with GOP-led challengers that the caps violate the First Amendment. So we likewise agree with plaintiffs and now hold the copium is tasty. Yes, we likewise agree with plaintiffs and now hold that FECA's, I don't like that it says FICA. I just personally don't like it. Limits on political parties' coordinated expenditures violate the First Amendment. So it is kind of what Cass described, which is Citizens United 2.0. They're claiming that it is within their First Amendment right to be able to do this, to be able to spend as much as they want. I think it's a little silly, right? So like me as an individual, I can I can only donate $2,700. That is the cap for individuals donations for like an individual candidate. However, now corporations and political parties can donate as much as they want. So I can only donate $2,700 to a specific entity like the Republican senators, and then they can take that and donate $1 billion. It doesn't sit right with me, but that's what it is until we get a better case to overrule it. That is what it is. Knick-knack. What did they cite? Now I'm interested because you guys are 1892 Church of Holy Trinity v. United States. 1892 Church of Holy Trinity v. United States. Let's see. The Act of February 26, 1880, to prohibit the importation and migration of foreigners and alien under contract or agreement to perform labor in the United States, its territories, and the District of Columbia. That's not even about religion. Holy Trinity is not a case holding that America is legally a Christian nation. It was about statutory interpretation. The court held that a federal labor importation law did not apply to a church hiring to a foreign minister. The Christian nation language was dicta used to support the court's view of congressional intent. It did not decide an establishment clause issue, did not create a constitutional rule, and did not say Christianity has legal status as the national religion. Can follow up with even Brewer later clarified the point in substance, not Christian in the sense of an established religion, compulsory support, religious test, or legal identity of the government. He described the government as legal organization as independent of all religions. Oh, sweetheart, poor thing. Okay. Well, we got somebody in the box, so we'll see how that goes. Steak, how are you today? I don't know who you are, but W, thank you so much, Queen V. Lee. If I don't see W's for Queen in the freaking chat, I'm going to be very, very upset. Holy crap. Thank you so much for the flying jets, Queen. I love you so much. Thank you. Steak, did you vote for Trump? Okay. How old are you and what state did you vote in? Okay. Why are you still supporting Trump? That's not how you say that word, so you can try that again at another time. But why are you still supporting Trump? How does that benefit the United States? How? Based on what? I would like statistics to prove that, actually. Oh, because of invisible boogeyman numbers that you made up in your head? Okay. Right, that's invisible boogeyman numbers. You're saying that they are committing crime, we just can't track it. And so it's a number you could make up. No, that is actually, that's antithetical to logic, because that is like saying there is 4 monsters under my bed. I can never look and never check. So, but they're there. I promise you they're there. That is just basing an opinion based off of no actual fact at all. Okay. Hi, Law. Yes, So then show me where we do not have information on these people. Cool. Mm-hmm. Per CBP, DHS, or ICE, some sort of governmental branch that tracks this. Sorry, YouTube, I apologize. YouTube and Twitch, I apologize.
They don't have a birth certificate. They don't have a social security number. They don't have a long history of tax records.
Based on what? Who are these people? How can you track them? How many are there?
Who are these people? How can you track them?
Yeah.
And how many are there?
Yeah.
Well, they're undocumented immigrants. Okay.
So how would you track them?
Well, we know if we can't find them in these information records, then yeah, they're just not there.
Okay, so that's invisible. Again, that is invisible boogeyman numbers. You cannot prove to me that there is a mass amount of illegal immigrants committing crime. So you then cannot prove to me that it is safer to do mass deportations because you are basing that information on a number you cannot prove and you just made up in your head. Cool.
And we already know logic. That there's that is 11 million in Texas.
That is antithetical. That is antithetical to logic. That is antithetical to logic.
We already know there's like 15 million in the U.S.
Ooh, based on what?
Oh my days!
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me get this for you because
I know it's tough to have to prove your information.
No, it's just
how do we know that there's 15 million? I thought you said we can't
do everything that we already.
If your common sense logic is that the number is something we will never be able to prove, but it exists, how do we know there's 15 million?
I didn't say we can never prove it.
Okay, so prove it to me. So prove it to me.
All right.
Okay.
Pew Research said there's 14 million in 2023.
Yeah, and that is 14 million in total since we've had about 10 million since about 2020. Uh-huh. Cool.
Yep.
How'd they track them? Cool. How'd they track them?
Estimates.
Estimates based on what? What information? What are they citing? What is Pew citing? They cite their research.
U.S. Census Bureau surveys.
Right. So undocumented immigrants do take part in the census. So now, can you show me that the fact that we have documentation on this 14 million that has been in the United States for this amount of time, can you show me where they are a majority committants of the crime, therefore mass deportations would make us safer?
We have some info.
Sure. Can you give me that to me?
But we don't have all.
That's just you coming up with another reason. Can you give me the info? You already admitted it at the beginning that they commit less crime than U.S. citizens per capita. So how is mass deportations making us safer?
I said they get convicted for less crime.
And you were basing that again on invisible boogeyman numbers that you can't prove to me.
Logic. That less information.
That's not logic. That is you coming up with. It's logic. It's logic to me that the sky is purple. Would I need to prove that, or can I just go around saying it?
I mean,
it's logic.
Anyone with common sense would agree with me.
Oh, it's common sense. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, my common sense says you're wrong. So now what do we do?
Well, now you just lost the debate.
That's not I don't have debates.
In bad faith.
I don't have debates. I have conversations, and I'm asking you to prove to me that it makes us safer to do mass deportations when these statistics say otherwise.
I give you my logic.
Your logic is yours. State King. What? That's an appeal to your own authority. That means nothing to me.
Everyone's logic. No one just sees it.
No, absolutely not. I base my stuff on actual statistics, and what we see is that they commit 60% less crime than U.S. citizens per capita. So again, how is that making us safer?
Convicted.
Where's that from?
Well, they're only finding that information from convictions.
Again, so that's invisible boogeyman numbers. You are then saying, your claim is then that
What are
there
you
is crime.
saying is invisible boogeyman numbers? I didn't even give you any numbers.
By saying that, I know that. That's part of the problem. You are saying that that is based off
What
of
are you
conviction.
talking about?
If you shut the fuck up, I'd explain it to you. You are saying that that is based off of convictions. Fine, but then does that mean your claim is there is crime being committed en masse that we are not finding and they're not being convicted of?
Yeah.
Prove that to me.
They have like more than 2 times less information.
Prove that to me.
Oh, bro.
I know, it's tough to have to actually prove it. Because again, that's why I call it invisible boogeyman numbers. Because you are making a claim.
I just named you all the information that they don't have.
No, you didn't. You are making a claim that there are illegal immigrants out here committing crime at a rate we cannot track that would be higher than the rate that U.S. citizens do. But you can't prove that to me. This is just your logic inside your head. Do you see how that doesn't make any sense?
No, because I said it. Okay. You were just too busy yapping. I'll say it again.
Sure.
They have don't have a birth certificate, don't have a social security number, tax records, voting registration, passports.
That doesn't mean they're committing a crime.
Visa or border entry record.
That would be records. That would be records. Show me that those people are committing crime at a higher rate. Oh, wait, we're going to go back to your convictions conversation. So again,
I gave you my logic.
Prove to me. No, I don't care about your logic. I care about what you can prove. Prove to me that illegal immigrants are committing crimes en masse and just not being convicted for it. Show me that statistic, or is that just your feelings?
I gave you my logic. If you don't want to admit it, because
that's
I get
just
it,
your feeling. I'm not admitting anything. You have proved nothing.
You're kind of a Democrat with like 100 people watching.
I'm actually a registered independent.
So obviously,
I'm a registered
you wouldn't want to concede.
I'm a registered independent, and I will concede when I have been proven wrong. You are telling me about the feelings in your tum-tum. You are telling me about the feelings in your tummy.
It's just a little embarrassing when you have 150 people that agree with you watching.
Can you tell me what you
don't
are on the internet?
Down.
What was that word that you use that you are known for on the internet?
I'm infamous.
I'm infamous. Yeah, that's what I thought you said. I'm infamous. That's cute. Can I get W's to Gen X for the $5? You said starting a $5 train. Fuck Gorsuch, Thomas, and Alito. Honestly, Gen X, even Kavanaugh, because his partial concurrence, partial dissent was also an issue. But W's to Gen X. Thank you so much, guys. I usually do $10 for kicks. If you would like to do that, I would appreciate it so that I get paid for my labor. But that brings us down to $75. As we're sitting here, I would appreciate it if we could keep working on that goal. Guys, make sure you are not stopping the tapping. It is 10:30 and we should be well on our way. So let's keep tapping, please. I would appreciate it so very much. Okay. Your boy Nate, how are you today?
Kamala Harris sucks.
Sweetheart. Tell your daddy to call, because obviously that's the one that you learned it from. Tell your daddy to call me, okay? I'll make him get on his knees. It's okay. Just have your daddy call. All right, guys. Let's get into it here. Let's put that over there because, you know, I keep my sources that we bring up while we're on the show. Let's get to the big one that we all want to talk about. The Supreme Court rejects Trump's effort to limit birthright citizenship, and that is why they are all coping and seething today. All right. Who knew? We knew because we can read. We can read. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And I apologize, YouTube and Twitch, that I did not have audio for the initial part of that call, but he wasn't giving, period. I said what I said. Okay. Supreme Court. Let's read this. Held. It almost mirrors the 14th Amendment's language, and I just love that. Held. Children born in the United States to parents unlawfully or temporarily present are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and are citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause. It's almost like we had precedent for this. It's almost like they were not going to reverse Wong Kim Ark. It's almost like we knew that the text is the text. And you guys just don't like the Constitution. Who knew? Who knew, law? I'm not even a fucking lawyer, and I can read. It's shocking. You know, it's just so shocking. I really liked this piece that Kyle Channing covers. Specifically, arguments for limiting birthright citizenship to those domiciled in the United States fail. These arguments err in their definition of allegiance, contending that natural allegiance was no longer sufficient for citizenship and that some greater quantum of allegiance based on domicile was required. There is scant evidence for this dramatically revisionist view. We love that. Like, it's just so, like, it's just a smackdown of everything that he said. And we do love that so very much. We'll keep going with this. W's to Raina. W's to Raina for the $6 for 69. Nice. I love our Dommy money. Thank you so much. And I just want you to look at it. I want you to look at it. It's beautiful. We love it. W's to Raina, please. I want to see the W's. And then I need W's to Jolie for the $5 choo-choo train. Choo-choo. He said, love you. I love you so much, Jolie. Thank you so much for your support. Block Daddy, also W's for the $5. Welcome back in. Your work wife is clocked in and ready. So make sure you're working those fingers. Block Daddy, you know I love when you do that. W's, thank you guys so much. Brings us, that's not what that is. Yes. That is what that is. I can do math. See? Sometimes. Leave me alone. All right. We love that. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And then I wanted to read where Jackson's concurring opinion, she critiques Justice Clarence Thomas's dissent. I thought that was very interesting. Her going at him again. Despite his long-standing endorsement of a colorblind constitution, Justice Thomas now surprisingly suggests that the citizenship clause was a race-conscious remedial measure relating only to freed slaves such as Dred Scott, post at 56, and those who shared with him certain characteristics, post at 1, no other homeland, post at 21, called America home. She was very, very unhappy with his determination. It is just like, the call is coming from inside the house. That, like, does he not realize this would have taken, this could take away his citizenship? I don't know why. I don't know why you guys are on the side of this. This would remove the rights from you. I know that you think because the sun is your biggest fucking enemy, and that you're just a bigot. I know that you think that means you're safe in the United States because your parents have been fighting the sun for the last 60, 70, 80 decades. Doesn't mean anything to me. Okay? 8 decades, excuse me. 6, 7, or 8 decades means nothing to me. It means nothing to them. Yeah, they think that they're safe. They're not. That's not how that works. So we love that. And then Alito is going to do what Kavanaugh kind of said as well in his partial dissent. And we will talk about that because Mike Johnson also brings it up. Some members of this group have lived here for years, and they have strong moral claim to be able to remain in the land where they grew up. Congress can and should address their situation. The 14th Amendment dictates who must be a citizen, but it does not address who may be a citizen by act of Congress. Congress has conferred citizenship on many people who are not made citizens by the 14th Amendment, including children born abroad to American citizen parents. These people and the millions of immigrants who have been naturalized are no less American than those who are fortunate enough to be here. I thought this was interesting because he dissented. And this is the most non-dissent I've ever seen. You're saying that Congress should bring forth some sort of pathway for parents of U.S. citizen children to stay here because they've been here. I'm with you. Love that. Yeah, Sam, you literally must be paying attention to me because you spent time to write an entire sentence about how you're not paying attention to me. So, cope and seethe, babe. Cope and seethe. It's okay. I promise you it's gonna be okay. All right. So let me get those out of the way. And let's look into what Trump was asked yesterday. Trump was asked yesterday about if he'll accept it. I don't know why we ask him if he will, because it's not up to him. He has to accept it. That's the law of the land. Co-equal branches of government unless you don't like the Constitution.
Birthright citizenship is next. What are your thoughts? Birthright citizenship. What are your thoughts? And will you accept it if it rules against you?
Well, I guess I have to accept. It's the Supreme Court, so I'll accept. I think it's very bad for our nation. We're the only nation that does it. No other nation does.
And again, that's a lie. That's not true. Other nations absolutely do this.
That birthright citizenship? No, not even close. Some did it, they ended it. It's tremendously destructive. It's extremely costly. I don't know, it's up to them. But in terms of for the good of the country, it'd be great if they didn't allow it. It would be great. But I can't tell you, the Slaughter case was the big case today. That was really a big case because it gave strength to presidents and strength to the presidency, a very important case. It's been going on for almost 100 years, think of that. And this was the ruling that really topped everything by a lot today, yeah.
So he says I'll have to accept it. Again, I don't even know why we're asking him if he will, because obviously he does. By the way, there it is. Yes, we got a response. He had not responded about birthright citizenship yet, and we got the response. The Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship, which is too bad for our country, but we can easily make it up in Congress through legislation with the support of the president that has now been determined during this process. No long and unwieldy constitutional amendment is necessary. Nope, still didn't work, Audie. I have that sticker up there and it still didn't work. TikTok should allow content like mine. Okay. Congress should start today to work on ending expensive and unfair to our country birthright citizenship. They will have my complete and total support. An amendment is necessary. Yeah, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. Especially because that's how we know he doesn't read. Right, law. It was on constitutional grounds. So, an amendment would be necessary because it was based on constitutional grounds. Also that part, Raina, even if you didn't need a constitutional amendment for this, their own Congress is so feckless, they can't agree on anything. So good luck getting that done. Actually, I did want to bring up that article that Lynatti sent. You put it in news, right? No. You put it in live chat, probably. Yes, right there. Thank you so much. Love you guys. So here's Chip Roy. You got your nails done, Adriana? I love that. Representative Roy calls for congressional action following Supreme Court birthright citizenship ruling. Chip Roy issued the following statement after the Supreme Court's ruling on birthright citizenship in Trump v. Barbara. The Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice Roberts, failed the American people, the Constitution, and the rule of law today, not to mention the national security of the United States. The 14th Amendment to the Constitution in no way stands for the proposition of creating a dangerous cottage industry of traveling to our soil to manufacture United States citizenship. That's cute. You can keep disagreeing with, people whose career it was to be justices. That's insane. The Supreme Court today should have said so explicitly and ended this damaging exploitation of our laws. Congress must now immediately do at least two things it should have done long ago. First, define the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof, very specifically to make clear that citizenship is tied to the citizenship of the parent, not the soil. Second, completely restrict funding from DHS or any other agency or state that provides documentation and status to anyone not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. In other words, Congress must act immediately and must not hide behind the fiction that it must amend the Constitution to fix this abuse of our laws. To do otherwise would be an abject failure of the United States Congress. So that's why he's saying that. He's saying restrict funding from DHS or any other agency or state that provides documentation and status to anyone not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That's going to go to court. And changing, they could try to change this, but they're still going to have to, they're going to have to get hell of approval. Wouldn't that still be an amendment? Because that's written into the 14th. So I don't know how you would be able to do that as just a law, because you're uprooting the language of the 14th. I don't know that that's how that works, Chip Roy, but that's cute. So, of course, they're going to start trying to run with this now. This is Mike Johnson, after he found out live during his little pressy conference that they be doing. He can't do that. I didn't think so. How would you do that? If the language is clear in the 14th, you would have to have an amendment to overturn it, not just the language itself. Yeah, SCOTUS upheld the 14th that requires an amendment to repeal the language. They're just coping and seething, and so Mike Johnson is going to do the same thing.
That decision is children born in the United States, parents unlawfully or temporarily present, are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and are citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause. So, what's your reaction to that, Mr. Speaker?
Well, not the audible groan.
This is real time. I need to read the opinion, okay? But obviously that's, I mean, you could say that's a textualist, originalist view. However, I do think that this has been grossly abused in recent years, okay? And that is the case that was being made by the plaintiffs in the case, and we're very sympathetic to that because it is a serious problem. We have it's become a tourism, birthing tourism, they call it,
Yeah, birthing tourism, you're right. The country has become a place for birth tourism. Do you know where that originated? Anybody? Anybody in my community know where birth tourism originated from in this country? It starts with a kala and ends with a nizing. Russia? No. I mean in our country. In our country, where did birth tourism start? Colonization? When them Europeans came over here and started having their babies? Right, the settlers. Yeah. So it's fine when they did it, but it's not fine when brown people do it.
A trend where people would just come and you just come onto the soil and have your child, and then they're able to avail themselves of the welfare state and everything else. It's been abused. It's one of those things.
It's not. That's just the law. It's not abused. It's just the law. Yeah, we engage specifically in settler colonization. Birth tourism to me.
Things that was intended to serve a noble and important purpose, and has been thwarted and overused and abused. And so I'm sure that we'll continue to look at that. I mean, I'm sure the conclusion from this opinion is going to be that you got to amend the Constitution to fix that.
Yep. Again, he found this out live. That his audible groan with him finding out the decision came out live. So he even said at one point, like, I think he said it at the beginning, I need to read it. It's 194 pages. He says he's a constitutional lawyer, so he should have some fun with that. But yeah, it's going to be an amendment. So you guys can keep crying. Trump can keep crying. Chip Roy can keep crying. Good fucking luck with that.
As we all know, it's a big challenge to amend the Constitution. It's only happened 27 times in our whole nation's history. And the reason is because you got to have 2/3 of both chambers of Congress and 3/4 of the states to ratify. It's usually at least a many years long process and very complicated. We'll see. I'm sure there's going to be lots of discussion about that. I will say I'm very disappointed in that outcome. I think it subjects the country to serious challenges going forward, and we'll have to deal with it as a Congress. Last one.
Womp, womp, womp. So yeah, it takes years. It takes years to get amendments even put forth, let alone unpopular ones that are going to go nowhere. You have a Congress right now that can't even get a bipartisan housing bill to be signed by the president, and we're going to talk about that today. Can't even get that bill signed by the president, bipartisanly passed, let alone their own agenda. They can't get done. So it's over. It's done. It's done. It's gonna be a tough one. This was Stephen Miller yesterday. I haven't seen his response from today. But this was his response yesterday in way of the mail-in ballot ruling that we talked about yesterday, which is that if it is postmarked by Election Day, hi RJ, if it's postmarked past Election Day and received 5 days, at least 5 days after it can be counted. That was a ruling that they didn't like. So, of course, what they have to do is they have to attack the justices and call it partisan or a movement, which is interesting. What has changed about the country that this will cause challenges going forward? Right, exactly, Blue. Like, what are the challenges? More brown people. I can tell you what it is. It's more brown people.
Stephen, now, the president, I think, was pretty clever how he handled this today about this case. He basically said, look, there are other great cases out there. We're going to talk about those with Jonathan Turley. But nevertheless, he was disappointed that his appointee to the court, Amy Coney Barrett, wrote that majority.
Well, look, let's just call it like it is. Justice Roberts and Justice Barrett decided to cave to the radical left.
They caved to the radical left, guys. Did he read it? Because we talked about it yesterday. And what they ruled is that Mississippi's fucking mail-in ballot law does not contradict the existing federal law. That's what they said. So what they would have wanted SCOTUS to do is to create a contradiction. to be ruled over. One did not exist. That's just the way it is.
Alito was so clear in his wording about what election day means. Nobody.
Hi, Ernalda, over on TikTok. We appreciate you being here, and welcome as a first-time chatter. I am just Monida. I am a political commentator. I happen to be a registered independent who leans left, which usually means, for me, farther left than the Democrats that we usually see. I would prefer to get us to a ranked choice voting, not non-electoral college, but change the electoral college type voting system. I allow for all opinions as long as they are not bigoted or using slurs or just completely derogatory. And we can always have a conversation. I have the conversations based off of factual-based evidence and not your feelings. A political commentator and RJ's protege. It's crazy. We love you.
It could read the statute, could read that opinion, could read what Alito wrote, and come to any other conclusion. It's election day, not election week, not election month, not election months. So this was really a travesty and an
It's not, because it actually follows. If it's election day, the ballot is postmarked by election day. We never count all of the ballots in one motherfucking day. I know, who is RJ? I keep hearing about, I think he's in Famous, Matt. If I remember correctly, he's in Famous, around these parts. On election day, we never count ballots fully on election day. That's why we have a projected winner, because we're not actually sure until the votes are counted. It's just that the majority of votes that we have counted, if that continues to be the trend, most likely is where it's going to be. So
underscores, Laura, why we have to keep fighting to pass the Save America Act. 80 million Americans elected a Republican Senate majority, and they elected a Republican Congress to deliver on this fundamental priority. It must get done, Laura.
Well, what is this going to mean for the midterms? And
it means you guys are fucked. That's what it means. And again, your president votes by mail. Let's get into that, maybe. We'll see how TikTok does with that today. Where is that section? I have it. I'm sorry. I have so many fucking pages of shit. I have to get back to where I was. There it is. Okay. So let's try and get into this. We'll try to be careful. Remember, when I use the word fraud, I'm going to say BS. I know you did try. It's okay. I kind of like him in the corner the way he is, though. For the word fraud, we're going to use the word BS. I'm going to try as best I can to bleep out when they say ridiculous things, because unfortunately, even the president lying takes me down. So we're going to try and talk about this. Again, talking about a problem that is not a problem. Are there people who BS vote? Yes, of course. People are going to people. Do they get caught? Yeah. Aren't the ballots coming in before the election day? Yes. So that is where there is a conversation going now, which will be a hell of a fuck. You want to see fascism? That's going to be a line. Our primary elections are already happening. We're kind of past that point. But once we get to midterms in November, and it is time for the post office, which is a federal organization, to send out mail-in ballots for the midterms now that they have lost these, not only the SCOTUS case in regards to mail-in ballots, but they have lost, I believe it's 11 now. They've lost 11 cases in court in regards to attempting to get voter rolls from these states. They've lost 11. W. Mark Elias. They are upset. The conversation that is being had is that the post office, again, a federal entity, might try to withhold mail-in ballots specifically from states they think they're going to lose. So that would be a huge line in the step of fascism, but we will see. We will see how that works. Fuck your feelings. Trump votes by mail. What now? Trump votes by mail. And again, you're talking about a problem that's not a problem because we are not seeing that in an en masse way that is affecting contests. Okay? We're not seeing that. But they're scared. That's why they're trying to do this. That's why they are trying to suppress votes. That's why they wanted these rulings to go their way, and they did not. And here's a great example of why. This is Mike Johnson.
Say, I am on the ballot, because in a real sense he is. If we were to lose the midterms, heaven forbid, these Democrats Y'all, impeachment's not even the big concern. They will turn every committee of Congress into an investigative body, and they'll go after the president's family, the cabinet, his donors, and
In the words of the wonderful Jim Carrey, stop breaking the law, asshole! Why do they have to investigate him? You know that the Republican Party spent the entire 4 years of Biden's administration running investigations on him? Did you know that?
What about Biden?
Oh, you don't like to what about Biden in that situation, right? Where the GOP, where Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Chip Roy, all of them, Mike Johnson, were all part of committees that spent 4 motherfucking years going after Joe Biden? Don't break the law. And actually, I have said this. I would prefer if they didn't. I mean, if you want to go after his sons for some sort of shit, if they broke a law, sure. If they broke a law. But I don't want to spend the majority of the next 2 years going after Trump. I really, really don't. I know everybody wants to see him get some sort of accountability. I know we want to see that. I see us winning the House. I do not necessarily see us winning the Senate. There are flippable seats there, but I don't see that as like a guarantee. So I do not want to spend our time worrying about impeachments that are going to get acquitted in the Senate. I think that is a waste of our time. I think that will bolster his position and his power because for some reason when you go after him, his base fires the fuck up like you're going after them because they've taken on his identity. I do not want to spend that time doing that. I want to spend time writing all the shit that he has done wrong. We have a lot of fucking shit to fix. We have a lot of stuff to fix. Let's get a head start on it before we hit 2028. I think that's what they need to focus on. So I would say I don't want it to become what he is trying to fearmonger the right about. I don't want it to become an investigative body.
friends. Half of you in this room will be targeted. I run the protection program. I'll take care of you, okay? We're going to win.
That's what should worry the fuck out of you. He just admitted to running a protection racket.
I run the protection program. I'll take care of you, okay? We're going to win. We're going to win the midterm, okay? All right?
He knows that's not true. But that's what should scare you, is that he's worried about protecting them doing crime. Right, that is. They really blew, like, that is the essence of Donald Trump's administration, is this idea that he is some New York mobster gangster that he never was, and he wants to run the government like that. Like, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Yeah, mafia talk. Like, I will protect you. I'll protect you, don't worry. Don Corleone's got you. Like, that's not what the fuck this is doing. Also, yes, Raina, why is Mike Johnson threatening us with a good time? I don't know.
I'll leave you and say, I am on the ballot.
So, that's why they're scared. Again, I wouldn't agree with doing that. And like Merton said, even if you get the Senate, you're not going to have enough votes to actually convict. You're not going to have enough votes to actually do any of the things you're saying to go against him. So I would agree with that. So this is AOC in response to Mike Johnson's comments. Guys, also, while we are sitting here, we are at 75,000 likes at 10:48. Can we try to get to that 100,000 with the 12 minutes that we have? Get those fingers working. I know you guys can do it, so I'd appreciate it if we could keep working over here on TikTok to do that. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up button for me. I would appreciate it. If you're not following me on, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, make sure that you are doing so. I would appreciate it so very much. YouTube, don't forget you can send super chats if you guys are wanting to say something to me that you would like me to read and the chat's going by fast. You guys are having conversations in there and I see that. As I keep going with my outline. I have 59 left in my goal, guys. Remember, this is my job. It's what I do for a living. Let's work on getting that down. Dollar Train, $2 Train, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all the link tree in my bio on all platforms. We can get that down. So this is AOC, which is going to, piss them off. In response to Mike Johnson's comments.
Sometimes yield to either state pursuits, etc. And, Mike Johnson paints this as though it's some partisan witch hunt. But if you don't want to be prosecuted for crimes, don't do crimes. And he's talking about running a protection racket. And we are already seeing that this Trump administration has run what some have called one of the largest pedophile protection programs.
Eric, no. I cuss like a sailor. That's just who I am. It is sentence enhancers for me. You can cry all the fuck you want to. You're fucking coping and seething today. And stop being a cocky little bitch. Get stronger. You're an alpha, I thought. I thought you're an alpha. Conservatives are alphas, and they're so strong. Get tougher. I don't know. if curse words upset you. By the way, I don't know if you know, there are studies that the use of curse words actually denotes higher intelligence.
In American history, in the cover-up of the Epstein files, they violated the law.
Yeah, Raina, exactly that.
When Congress mandated that they release the Epstein files, they're still hiding Epstein files, protecting some of the most gruesome behavior that is shocking to the human conscience. And so when
I mean, Scott, you can insult me all you want to, but you won't call in with factually based information. You'll call in with your feelings. You're going to say, it's common sense. You're going to say, but you don't think. And I'm just going to ask you to prove these things, and you're going to be very, very upset about that.
Johnson tells a group of wealthy donors, I'm the only thing standing between you and a consequence, that should rattle at the conscience of every American. What he wants to do is create, and rather not even create because it's already been created, but protect a class of impunity in America that say you can commit whatever crime, and so long as you pay a check to us, we will protect you. And that is
what do they need protection from? That's my thing, right? Nobody tried to, and unless you have evidence, so don't sit here as I say this, I know you guys are going to be like, yes, nobody tried to protect Biden or his family from what Congress was doing. Congress, the GOP part of Congress, spent 4 motherfucking years investigating him and came up with nothing. And nobody tried to protect him from that. And I damn sure know nobody tried to protect his family, because Hunter Biden was convicted of one felony and pled guilty to another. There was no protection racket there. Can you show me where there was one? To protect him? To protect Biden or his family. Was it there? Biden was demented. Okay, that's a great response. Totally addressed what I said. What do they need protection from? What does Trump himself, what does Trump's family, and what do other GOP members who have been up his ass need protection from? Haha was not a serious charge. Which one? Do you know his charges?
a model of extortion in American politics. And you know what? That's their pitch. That's their pitch. But at the end of the day, like I've always said,
Ozzy, I talk about the Epstein files all the time. You can go to previous videos where I spent I think the last time we did it was like an hour and a half on it. And I said, that I have no qualms about political affiliation in regards to that. I do not care about your political affiliation because I think that's weird. Yeah, they're very, very salty today, I see. Go after them. Go get them. Why is Todd Blanche saying we're going to move on? 34 fake felonies is hilarious. Ozzy! Sweetie! Get help. You weren't talking to me? Well, it's my show, so I'm talking to you. Cool. Glad.
They have money, but we've got people. And that's why our pitch needs...
Cap, you all, you know better than that. Nobody... collusion's not a crime. I've gone over Russia. I've gone over Russia, too. There is a brilliant PBS documentary that or a PBS breakdown that we watched on this show where they even made clear collusion is not a crime. Okay? And nobody was saying that Trump colluded with Russia. What they are saying is that his campaign had connections to Russia, which is why Paul Manafort was found guilty of not filing as a foreign agent. That was his campaign manager. You know what happened to Paul Manafort? Anybody know what happened to Paul Manafort after that conviction? I'll give you a guess. I'll give you 2. What happened to Paul Manafort? It's one of Donald Trump's favorite things to do as president. Bueller, he got pardoned. Yep, Donald Trump pardoned him.
To be focused on making the lives of everyday Americans better. Because they're sure as hell going to be making the lives of billionaires better and better and better every year. Our job is to make the lives of single mothers and working families and students trying to waitress through school and mechanics trying to keep the business of...
Chuck, you said I was going to say he's home eating steaks. He probably is home eating steaks, but the steaks he are not eating is Trump steaks because that went bankrupt.
Float. That needs to be our focus. And that's the only way that we're going to be able, I think, to turn this ship around, is through tackling on the extreme levels of inequality and corruption that persist in America.
So again, I don't want it to become an investigative committee the way the GOP was under Biden. I do not want to see that. I will be thoroughly disappointed, and I will be on here. I have no problem with some investigation into, like we talked about the mining company that the Witkoff children and the Trump children have invested in that then subsequently got a government contract for mining in Kazakhstan. I think you can investigate things like that. Just to ensure that the process was followed correctly in way of who was getting these government contracts and that it was not given simply because those are Trump's kids or Witkoff's kids. I'm fine with investigations like that. But I don't want to see impeachment after impeachment after impeachment. I think that's going to be a waste of our time. So I would like not to do that. I got a restriction for harassment and bullying. Guys, keep tapping the screen, please. I would appreciate it. Cry harder, I guess. And keep completing out the goal, guys. So, Trump is going to talk about incorrectly saying that the Democrats... How am I going to say this? What word am I going to use for this? We're using BS for fraud. He's saying the Democrats do what in contests? What's a good word? I don't know. I'm gonna have to try and bleep him. It's gonna be difficult for me. It's gonna be a difficult day over here trying to figure out this bleep board. I tell you what, they parry. Sure, yeah, that the Dems parry in contests.
Weeks and weeks and weeks, and you know what they do? They cheat. How many votes do we need? How many votes? That's why they take their time. How many votes do we need? Okay, here they are.
Oh, you can't see him though. Maybe that's better. I wonder if that's better.
Honestly, it's terrible. We're a third world country with elections. And weeks and weeks. And you know what they do?
Okay. I want you to hear. I'm trying to get past that part.
How many votes do we need? How many votes? That's why they take their time. How many votes do we need? Okay.
Okay. That's what he says the Democrats do. How many votes do we need? That's what the Democrats do so that they can parry to get what they want. Again, no evidence has been given, but you know, it's fine because that is what Democrats do, right? That's what Democrats do. Oh wait,
I'm notifying you that you're letting it happen. So look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that? The Democrats do what? What was that?
Do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state, and flipping the state is a great testament to our country, because, you know, it's a testament that they can admit to a mistake, or whatever you want to call it, if it was a mistake. I don't know. A lot of people think it wasn't a mistake. It was much more criminal than that.
And here we are 6 years later with nothing.
But it's a big problem in Georgia, and it's not a problem that's going away. I mean, you know, it's not a problem that's going away. And we got
President, this is Ryan. We're looking into every one of those things that you mentioned.
Okay,
and our
that's
investigators.
good. But if you find them, you got to say it, right? Look, if they're, let me ask you, Ryan, if they're destroying ballots.
Let me tell you what we are seeing.
Go ahead. Good.
What we're seeing is not at all what you're describing.
Okay.
And these are
He tried to tell. There's a great. I can't remember which one it is. Let me see if I can find it. What's his name? Raffensperger, right? I know I spelled that wrong. Raffensperger. That's that one. Yeah, I think that's the one I like. So it's on HBO. I would love to set up, if you are part of my Discord, I would really, really, really like to set up, maybe this weekend, maybe I can figure it out. I would love to set up a watch party for if you haven't seen it, because I know the privilege of being able to have streaming services. But it is called Stop the Steal. It is a documentary on HBO Max. Wonderful documentary. He is in it. And he is in it, and he talks about the amount of audits that Georgia did. Brad Raffensperger. Thank you, Brad. But Brad Raffensperger is in it. He talks about the amount of audits that they did. And that they just didn't find what Donald Trump wanted them to find, even though Donald Trump just said that that's what Democrats do.
Let me ask you, Ryan,
let me tell you what we are seeing.
Go ahead. Good.
What we're seeing is not at all what you're describing.
Okay.
And these are investigators from our office. These are investigators.
I just want everybody to know that as we were talking about Russia, the puzzle piece that just came up for me was St. Peter's Cathedral.
From GBI, and they're looking and they're good, and that's not what they're seeing. And we'll keep looking. We'll keep looking at all these things.
Well, you better check on the ballots, because they are shredding ballots, Ryan. I'm just telling you, Ryan. They're shredding ballots.
No, they weren't. TikTok. No, they weren't. I do not represent the views of, unfortunately, the president of the United motherfucking States. I knew I had his name spelled wrong. Hold on. So, again, he said that Democrats are the one who says how many votes do we need, when he was very, very, very specific 6 years ago. Very specific. All right, so we get to see our good boy, Red Bull Golden Retriever, Harry Enton here, talking about indoctrination and brainwashing, and how, without evidence, for 6 long years without evidence, you guys believe what Trump tells you. And you guys repeat what Trump tells you. And I've talked about this before. This is what happens when you get brainwashed and indoctrinated into this idea of common sense and this idea of conspiracy. So Stop the Steal is great, and HBO has one. I think it's just called January 6th, which is literally just a timeline of what happened on that actual day with footage from the people who were there. Also a brilliant fucking documentary, but the Stop the Steal goes into the back end shit that was happening, right? The stuff that Trump really gets in trouble for, and not necessarily the stuff that happened on the day. But brilliant documentaries, both of them. So you guys put on your conspiracy theory hats all the time, and I have an issue with that, because what that does is then when you are provided with anti-evidence, evidence that goes against what you believe in your tummy so hard, you go into a hole the other way. And when there's not evidence, when you cannot provide evidence of your claim that the contest was BS, you believe it more. You believe it more when there's no evidence than when there's evidence against you. And I do not understand that line of logic. We are really trying to break down that idea of thinking. You have nothing besides saying to me, you don't think that this was going on? No, because there's no evidence to the contrary, which is why I had that conversation with that infamous guy today, saying it's my logic. It's my logic. That is your feelings. And you guys always said that you were the facts over feelings party, and yet I can't get a fact out of you. And unfortunately, it has permeated and destroyed your party.
So talk to me about Mike Collins and where he fits among Republicans when it comes to what happened in 2020.
You know, honestly, Mike Collins is starting to feel a whole heck of a lot like Herschel Walker 2.0. You can remember Walker, of course, ran for the Senate in Georgia, lost that race in 2022, a very winnable seat. But he fits in very well with how Republicans...
Okay, my favorite thing just happened. Andrew just said CNN trash. Hey, by the way, this is Harry Enton. Yes, he works for CNN. However, what he does is he cites polls. Once he brings the poll up, we'll show you where it's from.
Still feel about the 2020 election. I mean, they just believe this garbage. Look at this.
All right. Source. Do you see CNN down there for the source, or is this a Reuters Ipsos poll? It's very difficult when you guys don't talk about sources.
GOP who say that the 2020 election was stolen. Back in 2021, just after the 2020 election, 60% of Republicans believe that the...
By the way, guys, if TikTok decides to be rude and take me down, I will appeal it, but please go over to... My logic is undeniable. I love that movie, Artist. if I get taken down by TikTok trying to cover this stuff, please go follow me on YouTube and Twitch. It is my same name, just Moni Duh. Go find me over there. That is where I will still be going while I appeal whatever decision I'm trying here, okay?
The 2020 election was stolen. Of course, there is no proof of that whatsoever.
There's no proof, TikTok.
Come forward 5 years later. Again, there's no proof, but now 63% of Republicans believe that the 2020 election was. Comments to Manu Raju make a whole heck of a lot of sense when you put it in the larger polling picture, which is that most Republicans, despite all the evidence to the contrary, believe that the 2020 election.
Is this a winning message in a
Sorry.
general election?
No, this is the whole problem, which is the Republican Party is in one camp all the way over here on the right, and the rest of the American public is in the same camp in the actual, this is the real world we're dealing with camp. Take a look at this. Okay. Americans on the 2020 election, they say not stolen, stolen. In 2021, about 3 in 5, 59% say not stolen. Look at this now. We're talking about 2 in 3. If anything, that number has gone up a little bit. 60.
So again, he is talking about the difference between the GOP, you guys, conservatives, Republicans, who live in this world without evidence and just believe what you want to believe. That's one of my...
I just want to believe the things that I say. Why don't you just let me believe the things that I say?
Versus the majority of America, and I don't even like saying majority of America, whoever they polled in this Reuters Ipsos poll in way of generic Americans who do not believe that. Yeah, they sit and wait and be told what to think. Absolutely true. No, it's not logical assessment, and you know that. I know you're smarter than that.
4% of Americans say that the 2020 election was not stolen. Stolen 32, 31, about the same, about 3 in 10 Americans. So what you see is that the American people are in one camp, believing the results, rightfully believing the results of the 2020 election, and then you have Republicans all the way in another camp. It is a losing message. That is why I say that Mike Collins is starting to sound like Herschel Walker 2.0, because that's a winnable seat for Republicans, and comments like that make it very difficult to win.
And again, another reason why the Save America Act, which is what we are kind of getting into here, that's why it is not popular, because it is going to be a suppression bill, and specifically a suppression bill for people in rural areas. It is going to make it harder for people in rural areas to register and to vote. And that's why it's not popular. And yet they keep trying to run it. I don't know why. Oh, I know why. Because the president makes them.
Well, could you argue Donald Trump?
I'm not using CNN. CNN is using Reuters and Ipsos. What is so difficult to understand about this? They've also cited Fox News. They've also cited YouGov. Like, what is it about sources that you have an issue with? Source. Reuters, Ipsos. Are you guys okay?
Is so popular in Georgia that maybe Mike Collins would want to lean into that message because he thinks that the Trump popularity will drag him over the finish line?
If Mike Collins thinks that Donald Trump is going to carry him over the finish line, then I have a brave new world that he needs to face, because that is a belief that, just simply put, is not on this planet. It is in some galaxy far, far away. Trump's not...
Now, see how the source changed? He did Enton's aggregate. I would love to find out which polls he does an aggregate of. An aggregate would be like an average. He has CES and UGA.
Popularity in Georgia. Look at this. Among Republicans, hey, yeah.
I'm not sourcing CNN. You're an idiot.
Yeah, winning a Republican primary, you want to be backed by...
Oh my gosh. 23. You need to get some help. Source. It's listed there at the bottom. They are just presenting it on CNN. The amount of times that I've done this and I've shown Harry Enton sourcing Fox News, and then I actually physically go find the Fox News poll for you guys, because I know that you won't believe it, because you see the symbol in the bottom and you lose your minds. That is what we're talking about right now. We are talking about your brainwashing and that you refuse to give into information. I'm not saying this is all true. It's a poll. How many people did they poll? It could have been 1,000. It could have been 2,000. It could have been 500, which is not a huge pool. That's not what I'm critiquing here. I'm just saying, of the polling that we have with the source that's given that's not CNN, this is what we have in way of polling.
Donald Trump, plus 64 points. Donald Trump very much on the positive side of the ledger.
But by the way, hit that thumbs up over there on YouTube while you're sitting here crying, because you guys don't call. You guys don't do that.
But among all voters, Donald Trump deeply underwater, heading right off Savannah into the Atlantic Ocean. Donald Trump deeply unpopular in Georgia. Mike Collins should be running from Donald Trump. Instead, he's leading into a belief that, simply put, has no evidence to back it up about the 2020 election.
And that's quite a large number in a state which is basically a 50-50 state.
Yeah.
Now you see a number like that, a warning sign.
It makes a whole heck of a lot with what matches nationally, and that is that Donald Trump is deeply underwater nationally and the key swing states as well.
All righty. Thank you so much, Harry Enton, for your sourced polling. We appreciate that. And what he's talking about and what that poll is based off of is Mike Collins' comments. Okay? Is Mike Collins' comments. This is the kind of stuff that I'm going to try and play, and we're going to try here. Mike Collins from Georgia.
Did Joe Biden win Georgia in 2020?
I have said this over and over and over again. You don't change the rules in the middle of the game. And that's what happened in 2020. They changed the rules up. You don't all of a sudden turn around and start mailing out absentee ballots to everybody.
Except that there are states that have been doing it for a long time. My state has been doing it, I think, longer than a decade. I want to say almost 20 years. My state has been doing that. This wasn't new. It might have been new to you. It wasn't new.
You don't set up drop boxes all over the place for people to just start.
We've always done that. Like, this is the shit that we're talking about. You guys are unwell. There are states that have been doing this for decades. We did mail-in ballots ever since the Civil War. Like, being able to have our military members be able to vote. Yet we were in the middle of a pandemic. Like, this is not different. All it was is it changed the way some people may have voted. Not some of us. I voted the same way in 2020 that I voted in 2016, the way I voted in 2022, and the same way I just voted for 2026, and the way I'm going to vote in 2028. Nothing changed for me.
This mass harvesting, ballot harvesting.
Do you think Trump won?
Trump won that race.
I meant to fucking...
So,
okay. Did Joe Biden...
Now I'm just adding bleeps wherever. I'm trying to, like, break up the audio. But he didn't. There's no proof of that. TikTok, there is absolutely no proof of that. Didn't happen. So this is Senator Marshall's, it's a 4-minute video, but this is Senator Marshall's exchange with Meet the Press host Ryan Nobles on the SAVE Act. And again, Senator Marshall is going to repeat the same things you guys keep saying, which is that there was BS in the contest, and yet you cannot prove that to me. Or anybody. You can't prove it to the courts. You can't prove it to me. You can't prove it in general. Neither can Donald Trump, and neither will Senator Roger Marshall be able to do so. Guys, as we're sitting here, I never thanked you guys for hitting 100,000 likes, and I apologize. Thank you guys so much for hitting 100,000 likes. We're at 123,000 likes. You guys are doing fantastic. Keep doing all of those good things with your fingers. Get those fingers trained up. Get those muscles going. I appreciate it so, so very much. Keep doing those good things, guys. If you're over there on YouTube and you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, I know you might be hate watching and you guys are having a bad day. I totally get it. You know, just hit that thumbs up even out of hate. You can do it really angry if you want to, if it makes you feel better. And I have 59 left in my goal, guys. Can we start working on this? I have about 45 minutes left before I have to go. And I would appreciate it if we could crowdfund to get that accomplished. This is my job. This is what I do for a living. I have to get called the worst names while people freak out about the Supreme Court decisions from yesterday and today, and they freak out about the fact that the Save America Act is dead on arrival in the Senate, and so now they are trying to pocket it into other things, which hopefully we will get to. I will finish this section. But Dollar Train, $2 train, $5 train, we are going to work on that. I don't know. So 9 left on my goal. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all in the link tree in my bio. Guys, let's get that 59 accomplished. I would appreciate it, okay? All right, let's see. I'm going to try here.
I understand the cost of living.
Which, again, I don't know why all of his Meet the Press interviews were fuzzy. We listened to him yesterday talking about Iran and other things, and they were fuzzy. I don't know why it's so fuzzy, and I apologize for anybody who has sensory issues about why it's so fuzzy. I'm so sorry.
is the defining issue right now. But also, everyone back home is really concerned about election integrity. We need an election that are trustworthy, and right now some Americans don't feel it is trustworthy.
Okay, well, let's talk about that, and let's talk about the realistic possibility of getting the Save America Act passed. Even though President Trump has refused to sign any legislation until it is, the SAVE Act calls for several changes to existing voting requirements. But not only do Republicans not have the votes, but I want to play for you what Senator Thom Tillis raised, his questions about this
Jimmy, what facts am I incorrect about?
particular piece of legislation. Take a listen.
Does any rational person who's ever had any experience with implementing election law really think that it's possible to have all that in place in time for this election and not be disruptive?
Senator Tillis says there's not enough time or money to even get this in place by November. Is he right?
Well, that's very possible, but we shouldn't let the perfect...
That's kind of a big deal. We talked about that yesterday. I showed you Thom Tillis's conversation about that, which is even if it were to pass, which he's like, it's not going to pass. Even if it were to pass, they do not have funding written into the bill to be able to effectuate this. And that is part of the problem, is you're going to have to fund this to effectuate it on a federal level. And they do not have that written in there. It would take months, if not upwards of a year or two, to get that established. And it is not going to be done in time for the midterm. So this idea that Donald Trump is coming out and saying, I'm not signing anything. I know they passed this bipartisanly and did what they're supposed to do and work together, but I'm not signing it because I want the Save America Act to pass before midterms. It doesn't mean anything. Even if it passed before midterms, again, dead on arrival, you do not have the structure to be able to implement it. Thom Tillis is correct about that.
Be the enemy the good. When are we going to do this? Look, I think that there is a huge concern on the part of Americans right now that our elections are not trustworthy. I don't think that fraud will ever end our democracy, but I'm worried about is those that have this belief, this fear that fraud isn't.
Oh, okay. So now he's doing the thing that Mike Johnson has done. And who else? There was somebody else who talked about this that we watched about a couple weeks ago. I can't remember now. He just said, right, exactly, Shirley. He just said it. I don't think that the BS, because that's the word we're going to use on my platform, I don't think that the BS is going to overturn our democracy. No, I don't think that. That's it. That should have been the end of the sentence, really. We're done. That's it. No. But that's not the end of the sentence because I'm not worried about that. I am worried about the people that we have convinced that something's wrong. They're out there with feelings in their stomach. And the only reason they have those feelings is because myself and Donald Trump and Mike Johnson have come out and told them to have those feelings. And so I have to worry about them. I have to worry about their feelings. That's what he just said. That's what he just said.
Right?
Well, that's very possible, but we shouldn't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. When are we going to do this? Look, I think that there is a huge concern on the part of Americans right now that our elections are not trustworthy.
Why? Why has that increased? We looked at a study that it's true. That concern about integrity of contests, that concern has increased. Doesn't mean that the concern is based off of any valid evidence. It just means that people have feelings in their tummy. But those feelings are have they ever considered being an actress? I am a theater kid. Why? Why has that increased? Why has that concern increased? Could it be because your orange blob fucking president has been yelling about it for 6 years? And let's go farther back, because we did that, right? We did that. Even farther back, when he talked about in 2015 and 16 that he would not accept the results of the contest if he lost to Clinton, right? Do we remember that, right? I played the videos on this stream. He's been doing this for over 10 years.
I don't think that fraud will ever end our democracy.
Yeah, I know, bruh. I'm so sorry, bruh. You're over there fighting the good fight, and I appreciate you. They don't understand how registration works for mail-in ballots.
Democracy, but I'm worried about is those that have this belief, this fear that fraud is indeed possible, and then it could go unpunished.
Well, nobody is denying that it's possible. What we are saying is that even through your own even through your own right-wing sources, the Heritage Foundation, which I've pulled up a myriad of times now, even through them, it is not to a level where you would need to do this that would suppress U.S. citizen voters. Because obviously they are catching it. The job is being done. That is what is happening. W's to Raina for the $10. W's to Raina, thank you so much for the $10. You said for the griff and for Dino Nuggies. Yes, thank you. Pay for my grifting, because apparently that's what I do on here every single day, as I have 14 pages of content we never get to. That's just me grifting off of my titties. It is Titty Tuesday. Jay, thank you so much for the $2. He said, fine chat, I'll start the $2 train. Up and at 'em, nerds. Choo-choo. W's, thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate that. And thank you so much, Raina. So let me, I have to do it this way. Leave me alone. 49, 47. Okay. Oh, Jay is the bird. Thank you so much. Thank you, Crow. I appreciate that. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well, friend. Okay. Back to Senator Marshall talking about feelings, since that's apparently what we care about.
That's why we need to build an election process with integrity.
But let's talk about the root of
We already have that.
That feeling that Americans have, at least a certain sect of Americans, as it relates to the integrity of elections. You've said if you could pass one bill the rest of your career, it would be the Save America Act. Every issue we care about starts with secure elections. Federal law already prohibits non-citizens from voting. There's no evidence that fraudulent votes have changed any election outcomes. Are you trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist?
Oh my God. Guys, I want you to guess. After our conversation with the infamous Steak King this morning about immigrants and crime, I would like you to guess what Baba just said about the extent of voter BS and how I said that it's obviously being caught and being discovered. What do you think he said in response to that? Again, I gave you a hint in regards to talking about immigrants committing crime. It's where they live. They live with the feelings in their tummy. It's exactly where they live. Not just fake news, but you'll never know the full extent of voter BS happening, since clearly it's not always discovered. Invisible boogeyman numbers. It's happening. It's happening. I swear that it's happening. I can't prove it, but it's happening.
Look, we make pilots before they start flying a plane. We make them get a license to do that. We don't wait till they crash a plane until we make them go through a process.
Duh. That's why we register to vote now.
The issue right now is that Americans don't feel that the elections are trustworthy. No one wants their vote canceled by an illegal alien or by a dead person. And all you have to do is look at the recent elections in Los Angeles, just to see the concern there.
There is no concern. I don't know if I have the video of Hilton again. So we watched one video where Hilton said we're not seeing any concerns of anything in regards to the election, and Hilton is the Republican in that governor's race. And he was asked again. I don't know if I have it in this outline or not, where Hilton says, oh, we're not saying that. What they keep talking about is Spencer Pratt. Again, I don't know how many times I have to say this. Karen Bass was always at the top. Spencer Pratt was always second. Nithya Raman was always third. And what happened is you live in LA, where it's only 15% registered Republicans. So you had Bass way ahead of the mark. We knew she was going to November. Pratt, second. He was never in the lead. They were trying to lie to you and say he was. He was not. Hi, Dawn. And you had Nithya Raman underneath in a 15% conservative registered area. You're shocked that he ended up not in the race. Okay.
But
as well, so I think there's real concerns, and the perception here is reality, Ryan. People want to.
The perception is reality. You guys don't live here.
Election integrity. That's not 90% of Americans want voter ID, so why not do that?
Now that's true. I haven't seen 90%. I have seen 80%. We talked about this with a Jeff, not that Jeff, but a Jeff, in chat a couple days ago, didn't we? We talked about that. Yesterday? Was it yesterday or last week? Jesus Christ, my days are blurring together. I need to go on vacation. But 80%, there was a survey, poll, those things you guys don't like that I just talked about. 80% of Americans are for voter ID. Now, what Jeff was trying to tell me is that is 80% of Americans are for the SAVE Act. That is incorrect. Incorrect. You cannot cite me a poll that says 80% of Americans are for the SAVE Act. Now, I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you, Crow, because that is exactly what I was just going to say, and that's my point. I have no problem. As a registered independent and a leftist, I have no problem if you want to implement voter ID. If you want to put on an application to get your forms that these are specifically for voter ID, I'm fine with that. But what that means is any of the documentation that I need in order to get that voter ID as a U.S. citizen needs to be free and easily accessible. Why? Because if it's not, it's a motherfucking poll tax and it goes against the Constitution. That piece of paper that you guys seem to not be very, very happy with the upholdings of today and yesterday. But I'm fine with it. I'm fine with voter ID. But if I need a passport or I need my birth certificate and I don't have it, like I think it's like 40% of Americans, upwards of 40% of Americans who don't have a birth certificate. If I need to get that to register for my voter ID, it needs to be free for me to do so. If I have to put on the form that it's specifically so I can get this voter ID, fine. It's fine. But yeah, we already do these things when we register to vote. It's ridiculous.
Facts connected to this, Senator, because the perception is actually not the reality, particularly when it comes to the claims of election fraud. In fact, it was the Conservative Heritage Foundation that did an exhaustive study on this, going back all
and we've brought them up multiple times.
The way to the 1980s, and pointed out that there's only 100 total instances of non-citizens voting. Again and again.
W's Araxis. What did you say? Araxis. W's Araxis for the $5. He said, you said tits for the goal. I did. It's Titties Out Tuesday. I usually do a Whip 'em Out Wednesday and sometimes a Thirsty Thursday. So welcome in, Araxis. You have found out my schedule. Yesterday was Baggy Monday because I said fuck that shit. But thank you so much. I appreciate it for the $5 train for I said tits.
Again, part of the problem with election integrity is that President Trump keeps accusing election systems of not being fair and not being secure, but there's actually no evidence to support that. So don't you need to bring to the American people a suite of issues, a suite of evidence that demonstrates this need? Just give me one example of where there was some level of fraud that the Save America Act would have prevented that would have altered an election.
Yeah, Ryan, I guess we just look at this differently.
Oh, okay. So I asked you, he was very, very clear. It was a very specific question. Can you give me an example? I guess we just look at this differently.
I think, again, I'm going back to that election process needs to be trustworthy. That the
And it is. It is. The reason that Americans feel like it's not is because people like you and the President of the United States have sowed that doubt for at minimum 6 years, at maximum 10.
Election process is important to the backbone and the survival of this nation.
Matt, based on what?
Everything I've done professionally, trust has been so important. As a physician, the trust between the doctor and the patient, a military officer.
I'm sorry, I know this is a pivot, but as a woman, the trust between a doctor and a patient, you also don't give a fuck about. You also don't care about that.
Trust between those below me and above me in rank, and now as a senator, that there needs to be trust. So what are Democrats running from? Why are they afraid?
Nothing. They're not running from anything. They're not afraid of anything. What they are saying is they do not want U.S. citizens to be restricted in their access to voting.
You're saying is true, then why are you worried about this? Why not have voter ID? Why not have some type of proof of citizenship? Again, you can't get on a plane without your own ID. Look.
Yes, but flying on a plane is not a constitutional right. Unless you're Trump, who believes that there were airplanes at the Revolutionary War.
I go to a plane in Kansas, they know who I am, but they make me show our ID as well. Why? They don't want to wait for a plane to crash.
Which, by the way, you don't have to take your shoes off anymore, so I guess fuck that. Thanks, Gnome.
Before they start enforcing that particular law. Okay. So I think, again, this is just part of trustworthiness, and the integrity of our election is that important to our democracies.
Okay.
It is, and we already have it, which is why we are sitting here in this predicament of you guys crying about something. I don't even like talking about it. To be honest, I really hate talking about the Save America Act because it's not going anywhere. It's really, really not going anywhere. So again, now you guys can cry because I'm going to show you CNN. I am going to show you a CNN panel. If you want to cry about CNN now, you may do so. Commie News Network, Clown News Network, CNN. Oh my God. I'm not using this as a source. I am just showing you the depth of the conversations. That again, conversations I keep trying to have with you, conversations they keep trying to ask our Congress people about the fact that you guys keep railing and yelling about BS in contests and yet cannot prove it in any way, shape, or form. And all the CNN panel is doing is trying to hold you to that. So that's what they're doing, and I'm going to show you once again that they are asked over and over and over for this evidence, and they are not given it.
I think they're really right.
That sounds like a period. All right, so can we also now stop pretending that the elections are not secure?
Well, that part, Newshound, that is annoying. I know that it's different per state, but they keep saying this. That's the part that pisses me off. We already have to prove ID and citizenship. We do. I don't know where they're getting that we don't. I don't know where we're getting that we don't. It's still, any system is going to have backdoors or slip-ups of fraud, of BS. That's going to happen. And we catch that. The only thing that you guys can give me, this is not CNN as a source, I just explained that to you, Steve. The only thing you guys can give me is this idea of numbers you can't prove, that you just believe with your tummy. And I'm really over that shit. I'm so fucking tired of the invisible boogeyman numbers you can't prove to me, and that you're like, you really don't think they exist? No, because they've not been shown to exist. Even per the Heritage Foundation, your own right-wing source that wrote Project 2025, you can't show me that. We already do. It's the same conversation we had in regards to the California contest. You guys kept talking about, it was a joke through, I don't know if you guys had seen this, or most of my community had, but thank you, Tomsy. If you guys had seen the joke that was running through the circles of MAGA, they were all saying, we're gonna go to California and register so we can vote for Pratt. As if to try and prove that this system didn't work. Apparently that didn't work, or you guys were full of shit, right? And so what we did is I said, look, let's go register for California. And I couldn't do it. Why? Oh, because they require my social, and they require my address, and they require all of those things that should be registered for California's Department of Motor Vehicles they're not going to be, because I'm Monica and I live in Colorado.
We can stop when they become secure. That's when we can stop doing it.
Where's your evidence that they are not secure?
I think, first of all, the fact that we do...
Nope. Listen to the question.
I'm secure. That's when we can stop doing it.
Where's your evidence that they are not secure?
I think, first of all, the fact that we do not have to show ID is a disgrace. Number two...
Because they match your fucking signature to your registration already. You guys are just not smart. They've just lied to you, and you guys are like, okay.
I will find you videos, including 2024 in Connecticut, when you have on a security camera one person dumping in mail-in ballots.
I'm not gonna watch.
Where? Okay, show me. Crow lives in Pennsylvania. Can you show me that? I would actually, let me write it down so I can look it up for her later. 2024 Pennsylvania dumping ballots. Guarantee you we won't find it. What was the question? Oh, no, I was just saying, she said that there, in 2024 in Pennsylvania, there was a video, somebody, of dumping voters. You do know this story? Of course you do, Crow. I knew you would.
I know this story. I know the story because they like to yell about this story all the time, and I know this story. If you heard what she just said, what would you think she's talking about? What action?
I mean, I would assume, like, my assumption as a leftist with critical thinking skills is that it was like a male person dumping it at the U.S. Postal Service, but...
So you're close, actually. You're actually like horseshoe close. Like we were playing horseshoes. You're not at the pin, but you're right next to it. This was a male person who decided they were done with their shift and did not want to do it anymore. So they literally took the bag of ballots and just pitched them off the side of the road.
Oh, so they committed a crime.
Correct. They were charged with this. Right. This was not like a woke leftist dumping ballots. This was a shitty-ass employee.
And what that means is then what they do is they bring a different U.S. Postal Service member to come pick them up, and they are still counted as valid. Jesus Christ.
It was like over in Bucks County, if I recall. I heard one side, like I'll be honest, I'm looking for more inventory for the record store I'm building off to the side, and I heard you go, Crow lives in Pennsylvania. I'm like, I do. What happened?
What do we do now? Yeah, no, that's just a federal offense. Just like stealing a USPS truck is a federal offense, which happened to my husband when he was working. So,
It was legitimately a mailman that was just like, I'm done with today. Yeet.
he does know that he could just drive back to the postal service and leave the truck there and say, I'm fucking done, right? He didn't have to do that.
I just know what happened. That was what it was. He was like, I'm done with the day. Yeet. This was what he thought was a reasonable solution.
You could have just quit your job like a normal person and not had a felony charge. That's what you could have done. God, that's great. I love that. Thank you, Crow.
You're welcome.
See, I'm not gonna watch your YouTube video.
Of course you don't want to watch it because it goes against your agenda. But if you opened your eyes and saw something that goes against what
Open your eyes then, she said. Again, we did.
you believe, you'll see
Emily,
that it is not secure.
But hold on, Emily.
Don't tell me to open
what
my eyes.
A
about
better argument than, oh, it doesn't
do that.
happen.
Hold on,
I think
Emily.
instance in which it happens and you're
It doesn't happen because that's not what happened as we just described. Also, yes, YouTube is also not a source.
Let me just let Emily finish what she was claiming, because she said, you said that there was a video in Connecticut. What's the point?
Oh, they said Connecticut. I apologize. You guys are right.
ballots are not secure because
No.
Don't try
What's
to
the
get off of
point?
it now.
Okay, let me see. I'll see. I know that we talked about it, but Connecticut, 2024. I bet that, yeah, that's probably what it was. That's not, that is Russ and Bridgeport. Nope. Nope. Misuse of absentee ballots in a mayoral race from 2019 Democratic primary, but that is not what she described. None of the four defendants. Nope. Where's this? Where's this? I'm doing her homework for her, and I'm not getting paid for it, and I'm not finding anything.
Hold on. What's the point of the video in Connecticut that you're talking about? What happened in Connecticut?
One person dumped multiple mail-in
And then
ballots.
what happened? It was, you said.
Oh, so it went from an image as a theater kid. It went from an hyperbolic image of a bucket being poured of ballots to a person dropped off multiple ballots. Oh, like when a household drops off 4 because there's that many adults in the house? Is that what we're talking about?
That it was on video. So was that person charged?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You don't know if they were charged? There's a video evidence of it. You dropped off 5. There are 5 adults, correct. Wait, is there? Me, my brothers, you. Yes. Okay. You did. What? Like, you don't know if they were charged? You're using this as your example? This is literally, Brian, I said this before I played this video. This is a CNN panel, so it's going to be all opinions. My point is to represent that she is reflecting a side that you tend to vote with who have no evidence for those opinions.
You don't know? You're telling me that there's massive fraud and it's caught on video and you can't tell me whether it was real or not?
We can look into
whether
it.
the person was charged or not?
I really hope he was charged.
Because
we can look into it.
But how many instances were not caught on camera?
But hold on.
I didn't have cameras.
Hold on, Emily.
Did I have
we're all
cameras
the way
on
down
my
to
mail-in ballot?
conspiracy.
No.
I'm just saying that you're basically.
It's a piece of
It is
letter.
absolutely a
It is a letter. It can be
Listen,
mishandled.
I'm just
It's a
saying,
joke.
if you have video
that
evidence.
How about you,
That answer
how
is
about
a
you
joke.
defend the fact that we don't have to show voter ID?
Hold on a
Do you
second.
defend that too?
First of all, that is a ridiculous thing. So, do you believe that actually?
Yeah.
In 50 states, that nobody has to show any
I didn't
ID.
say nobody. Everyone should be required to
I
show
don't know, what
voter
are you
ID.
saying? In which states can you vote and no one knows who you are? You have to show no where you live, nothing. So which states are those?
How many New Yorkers said?
I
that
didn't
they
know
did not have to
Answer the question. God damn. Why are you guys incapable of answering questions?
Didn't know it.
How
I
many
know
people
what
should I
my
give you
answer
a
because
list
you
of
didn't know
names?
it.
Let me post on Instagram. Everyone who didn't show ID in the New York election come forward. People will come forward.
Here's the thing.
It's a joke.
You're a joke because you didn't answer that question. You're trying to go around the corner.
Okay, hold
You're trying to go around the
Go
corner.
ahead, Ashley.
Even more so if everyone's already doing it.
Hold on, Emily. Hold on, Emily.
The same
And
reason why the
Charles.
Supreme
Go
Court
ahead, Ashley.
the same reason why the Supreme Court ruled in the Watson case today that the state's laws supersede is that that's also what happens in the states. So sometimes in states, people actually want your driver's license. In some states, they decide it's mail is sufficient enough. 2 pieces of mail with your name and the address that also matches what is on the voter roll. Sometimes it is that a signature match. There are multiple ways to confirm identity. So the fact that there are no ways to ensure that people are coming in droves and voting illegally is just not the case. And if it is, you would be able to prove it.
But she has videos.
Because people want
that part. I'm not sitting here asking for this evidence just for the fun of it. I will always say, I don't know everything about everything. If there is evidence out there, I've been waiting for 6 years for it, and we are not being given that evidence. Not to an extent that would overturn a contest. That is all we're saying. And you guys are still just like, no, nuh-uh, absolutely not.
I just want to believe the things that I say. Why don't you just let me believe the things that I say?
to prove it so that they can change the election laws.
Yeah,
that would be the best argument for Donald Trump.
This has
but
been
it doesn't
going
exist.
on
The only
for a
time,
long time
the election has been corrupted most recently was on January 6th when the sitting president would not accept the results of the election.
This has been going
and
on
tried to
for a
overturn
long
it.
time.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, that was a mod thing. Right, and there is a difference between a contest BS and voter BS. You're absolutely right. I think... Did I? Okay. So then Stephen Miller does what Mike Johnson did, again, which is warning. This is just a little quick filler before we end this section, but a quick filler of like, what will happen if the Dems win and take the midterms, which is why they're trying to keep them from voting, even though, again, it would affect rural states a lot more than it would affect Democratic states. But again, don't threaten us with a good time. Thank you for the new political ad, Stephen Miller.
And one more point on this, Laura. This is existential for this country. You've covered more than anybody. When the Democrats, should the Democrats regain power, it's game over. 12 more justices on SCOTUS, 2 new Democrat states. They're going to get rid of the Second Amendment. They're going to get rid of our border.
Nobody said that. Can you show me a Democratic candidate, a Democratic congressperson that is running on getting rid of the Second Amendment? Now, you had me with the first 2. Yeah, they're definitely... 12 is crazy. No, news out. We have a split in the Supreme Court today. 6-6. We would never get anything done. He did say 12. He did. He meant 13. Definitely, they would try to increase the bench to 13. And they would definitely try to make D.C. and Puerto Rico a state with electoral votes. They absolutely would fucking try to do that. That's true. Getting rid of the Second Amendment, where?
Borders. They're going to get rid of our police. They're going to get rid of ICE, Border Patrol, DHS, and they're going to elect communists.
Listen, even when DHS was partially shut down, the Democrats never said, we're just never funding ICE ever again. They never said, we're not funding CBP in perpetuity. What they said is that we will fund ICE and CBP as long as they follow the Constitution and the law, and they need to have parameters. Stop killing American citizens in the street and stop wearing masks when you do it. Jesus. And Christina, yes. Can we talk about the completely empty National Mall? We absolutely can. The videos have been sending me of them sitting in this little box like it's a football game and going, look at all the people here. There's nobody fucking there. And even Caroline Leavitt, I know that Caroline Leavitt took a picture with her new child that she birthed. And in the reflection of her sunglasses was just green field. We love it. The amount of times that I will scroll past a video like this and think that that's the reflecting pool, I don't even want to talk about.
Actual communists, Laura, not even socialists, communists who will wreck this country.
Now, communists don't vote. Communists don't run for office. Don't know if you've talked to communists. What's funny is actually, I don't think Republicans talk to communists on this app. I think that leftists talk to communists because they think that a lot of us are fucking fascists. And that's totally their opinion. I would agree with them that we can't vote our way out of oppression. I just see it as a tool that they are trying to take away, which means they're scared of it, so I'm going to fucking use it. But communists don't vote. Communists don't run for office.
I'm going to move back.
And one more point on this, Laura.
So, again, don't threaten me with a good time. Nobody said anything about the Second Amendment, though. That didn't happen. So here's Donald Trump's reaction yesterday to the SCOTUS ruling in regards to mail-in ballots and how they are counted per Mississippi, and other states are allowed to continue that. So we're going to talk about that.
What do you make of the Supreme Court ruling today in regards to the mail-in ballots, and what comes next for the SAVE Act after today's ruling?
Well, because of the mail-in ballot ruling,
Guys, there's a lot of you over on YouTube, and I appreciate that. You might be cope watching, you might be love watching. Either way, I appreciate you. Can we make sure we hit that thumbs up if you have not already? I would appreciate it, please, over there.
which was a little bit surprising, gives people more time to vote illegally, let's say.
He wrote on Truth Social, Don. We read it. He actually wasn't as upset as I thought he was going to be. I'm excited to see what he says in speeches, because you know he's going to go off in his speeches and ramble about it for an hour and a half. But his truth about it was more to the effect of, I'm guessing that Stephen Miller and or Chip Roy reach out to him and they were like, we don't need the amendment to do this. There are other ways we can do this, because that's what he repeated, which is not true. Because if you looked at the ruling, Don, they ruled based off of constitutional grounds, so that's not going anywhere.
But the SAVE Act is even more important, and that's...
So yeah, that's that. He's not happy. And then I wanted to end with this. This is Tammy Duckworth. There are videos upon videos I could play about why the conversation about the SAVE Act and why we do not want to see it, why it is not popular even with Republican constituents. And it's because you guys haven't read it. You guys don't understand how restrictive it actually is. It is not a simple voter ID bill. That is not what this is. So I would urge you to read it, but if you don't want to read it, I guess, maybe try and listen to Tammy Duckworth and look up other videos where they are describing to you what is written in that text. We have gone over it. We didn't read the entire thing, but we went over a lot of the stipulations in the Save America Act and why it is so oppressive, suppressive, restrictive.
If you have a different name on your birth certificate than is on your driver's license, you cannot vote. And so for the 69 million American women who took their husbands' names, you cannot vote. That birth certificate is not valid. By the way, military IDs will not be valid for you to be able to vote. Neither will your real ID. You know, all that time we all went back and got that new real ID.
Because real ID doesn't always prove citizenship. That is why. So for all of you who have been railing at me that real IDs would be enough under the Save America Act, it would not be.
With the star on it.
$45 at the airport now if you don't have it.
Yeah, well, you know what? That doesn't qualify anymore. So you have to go in with a passport that matches your current ID. And you know how hard it is to get a passport? I mean, number one, it's expensive. And number two, there's such a backlog in the State Department. Some people are waiting 3 months, 6 months to get a passport.
Right, and that's just if you're trying to get a regular passport. I highly doubt that they are going to do an expedited line for people who are trying to do it for the purpose of voter ID. I highly doubt that. When me and my family were going to Costa Rica, we needed to get passports for me and my husband and the kids. And I love Senator Duckworth. We had to get passports. Now, at the passport office, you can just apply, but they're going to say this is going to take months for you to get your passport. So you have to fill out a separate section that says, hey, we're going on a trip, and that's why we need a passport. And so then they go, okay, well, 2 weeks before your trip, you can come in. Which, by the way, for somebody with anxiety who likes to have everything prepped, set my stomach on fire, and I absolutely hated that. I was like, 2 weeks? And I think it was even a little less than that. I want to say it was like a week and a half or something that we went in and got our passport. So unless you are then restructuring the State Department and the passport office to allow a rushed system to get your passport as a U.S. citizen, you are then waiting for months, which restricts your ability to vote.
And so...
there you are. You can get them in 24 hours if you have like a ticket for the next day. Hi, babe. You're not supposed to be here, but I'm guessing you had something to add about passports. Hello!
So 7 days before your trip.
Oh, 7 days.
Yeah, so 7 days you can apply in person for expedited, and then they get it the next day. So otherwise it's like 6 weeks. So.
Yeah.
Hold on, look how beautiful I am today.
Go away. All right. Can I get W's to Oh Me Oh My for the $22? Thank you so much. You said the supporters have never built a reward system for being curious. Hold on, let me see. I gotta read the whole thing. being curious unselfishly. So they ask an insincere question and go, nuh-uh, if you even breathe toward yeah. That's what they do, for sure. Like, they've never built a reward system for being curious. That's true. You're right. They don't get rewarded for being curious. They get admonished. They get critiqued. They get told that they are not truly MAGA. They are not truly Republicans if they question anything that Dear Leader does. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You don't have to read it. I was venting. No, I'm going to read it. Absolutely. That's absolutely true. We are rewarded for critical thinking. That's why it's always like one of their biggest like gotchas is that the Democratic Party, which again I'm not affiliated with, but the Democratic Party, you guys can't even pick a leader. You have so much infighting. Yeah, that's because we actually critically think and we say, hey, I'm with you on this, this, and this. I'm not with you on this. Whereas you guys try to hold rank together and you're not allowed to question anything. That's a problem. You should probably think about that.
Think about the 69 million American women who married and took their husbands' names. You can no longer vote under the SAFE Act. And so that is what he's doing. He wants this, and in order to have this, in order to have housing for young Americans, young people who want to buy their first home, who don't see home ownership as being something that they can achieve, he's going to hold women who are married and took their husbands' names hostage.
It is very.
Somebody who said you can get a passport anytime. Yes, I'm talking about expedited in way of being able to vote. How long is the average wait time for a passport right now? And like Dawn said, the Secretary of State can deny you a passport at any time. Okay, I have some stuff on Russell Vogt that we're not going to get to today because he is in front of Congress right now, but that's going to be really interesting to get into. I love getting into Russell Vogt. Maybe what do I want to do? I've got 10 minutes left, guys. 10 minutes, and I want to see what I can get into that I can finish. That's going to be the thing to be able to do. So let's do this. No, I'll leave that. Maybe we'll get more on it in a little bit. We'll do this tiny little Vance portion. So Vance was at the Richard Nixon Foundation and I guess decided he was going to cape for Richard Nixon, which is interesting. So let's listen to that. And also for the people, our lovely friends who cannot get an accurate passport. You also have that going on, true.
So we were talking about this a little.
I apologize that it is so low. That is as high as I can get it. I'll mute myself so there's no background noise, though.
A little bit backstage, but I'm actually fascinated by Nixon as a character in history. I think that his historical legacy is enjoying a bit of a renaissance, but I think deservedly so. As I joked with Robert backstage, if Watergate happened tomorrow, it would be like a 12-hour news story.
Why are we bragging about that? You guys okay with that? He is bragging about he is bragging about the fact that they are able to do corruption in this administration and it only being a 12-hour news cycle until they do corruption again. And that if Nixon was president now, it would only be a 12-hour news cycle and he would still be president and not the earth-shattering event that it was of corruption. Right, yeah, I would agree with that, Ashby. Watergate looks like spilled milk. However, he's saying that to admit to corruption. That's what he's doing. Thank you, Hector. He's saying hey, if Trump did Watergate, it would only be like a 12-hour thing.
The idea that it would have taken down a presidency is crazy. And by the way, if you look at the story of how the deep state took down Richard Nixon, it's not all.
Who's the deep state in the case of Richard Nixon? Can somebody tell me? I've watched documentaries on Watergate, but I'm not as up to date on my Nixon lore as maybe I should be. Who's the deep state? Yeah, Watergate shouldn't have taken down a presidency. It's crazy. It's crazy. Who was the deep state that took down Nixon? Nixon was the deep state. Exactly. Look.
How the deep state took down Richard Nixon, it's not all that different from what the same groups of people, the same institutions tried to do to Donald Trump in the first Trump administration. There is a parallel.
That's a winning message for the midterms. There's a parallel between Richard Nixon and Watergate and Trump and his corruption. Like that. Put it on an ad. Let's go, November. Yeah, the deep state, a functioning Justice Department, and investigative journalism. Oh, no. This is your man. That's the guy. You're going to run in 28? That's the guy? Mm-hmm. He's got the fucking personality of a wet blanket. No, the original Tim. You said no sandwiches were made in the making of this live chat. Absolutely the fuck not. When I make sandwiches for men, I make it specifically with a special ingredient of mine. It is aqua tofana. I hope you like it. I hope you like it.
I also just, at a personal level, you know, okay.
No, exactly, Crow. I'm so sick of Citizens United being bolstered and expanded. I'm over it.
Young senator, vice president, writes some best-selling books, is hated by the media. It kind of sounds like J.D. Vance. So I'm a little, you know, I've always liked...
Please don't talk about yourself in the third person, men. It will make us drier than the Sahara, which is why he had to reach over and tap his wife's knee, because she's not interested anymore.
I've always liked Richard Nixon, but okay, one other thing about...
I've always liked Richard Nixon is a crazy conversation. Okay, let me check my messages. I see you guys yelling at me. Hold on. I promise I'm listening. I'm here. I'm paying attention. I am. Okay. There's that. Oh my God. Araxis, thank you so much for the $5. You said, for Miller, Pee-wee German or Mini Goebbels? I do like Pee-wee German. I am partial to Pee-wee German. I like Steven Goebbels too. You can call him that. I do like that one. And also huge W's. Thank you so much. Is that you, artist? Because I don't want to say your name out. If that's the case. Was that you? W's for the $20 for love your show every day, helping to finish the goal. Check out the Iowa Gov stuff if you can. Representative support Democratic governor nominee. And of course, my logic is undeniable. Thank you. W's to artist and W's to Araxis for completing out the goal and then some, a little bit on top. We love that because, you know, women's labor is important. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. And again, I'm going on vacation next week, so I need to get all these bills paid up before I go. That's just how I run. All right, so then Jennings, one of our favorite political commentators, you guys can yell about CNN all you want to, but they have Scott Jennings on there a hell of a whole lot, is on here talking about kind of contradicting what Vance said on Nixon, which is interesting because, again, that's not a winning message. It's just not a winning message at all.
Just because people who watch you every night, you know, we have you on the show a bunch, you are not very defensive of those comments that were made at the Nixon Library. You seem to be saying, you know, you don't seem to be defending them very much.
I mean, look, it's up to him how he wants to define himself. And
it's just funny because he's like such a Trump taint glazer. He is such a Trump administration taint glazer. But when it comes to these comments from Vance about Nixon, look, he can say what he wants to say. Look, he can define himself how he wants to.
compare himself to historical figures. It's up to every politician to do that. There's some things about the Richard Nixon presidency that I think are worthy of mention and worthy of admiration. And obviously they did some things that are not worthy of.
Yeah, Hector, he did the Peter Griffin, whoa, 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 whoa.
Of admiration, and we know how
but
history
Scott, my
played
point is
out.
that's not the point the vice president made. He didn't say, look at what Nixon did with China. We're doing something similar to that. He was saying, look at Watergate. It would have never taken down a president today. It would have been a 12-hour story. And actually, it was the deep state who took Nixon down. I mean, he was specifically talking about Watergate. He wasn't talking about Nixon's other achievements, of which I agree, there are several.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting academic conversation. I mean, if something like that had happened today, does our politics work the same way today that it worked then?
No, because you guys have destroyed them. You guys have made it so that Congress is feckless. You guys have made it so that you only put loyalists into the DOJ and into the FBI and into the CIA. You guys have made it that way so that Donald Trump can get away with whatever the fuck he wants.
And it's an interesting
Robzilla, please stop asking that question.
Academic conversation, but that's really all it is. It's academic. It happened in history, and we live at a different point. So I don't know how to analyze it beyond that, really.
Just because.
Yeah, I agree with you, Don. Yeah, normalizing relations with China and the EPA, absolutely, which this administration gutted. So, I mean, trying to parallel, the only thing that you could parallel between Nixon and Trump was the corruption that took down his presidency. Maybe not good. And then this one is just for me. It has really nothing to do with politics, other than to show you these people are stupid. This is your man. This is your man. This is the guy that you're going to run in 2028. Go with this messaging. I dare you.
Sort of keying off of that, you title the chapter More Money, More Problems. Why does more money sometimes cause more problems?
Well, again, I'm a millennial, and so I believe that's the wisdom of the great Christian theologian P. Diddy.
Put it on every ad. Run it! 2028! You guys haven't seen this yet? I love this for me.
Sort of keying off of that, you title the chapter More Money, More Problems. Why does more money sometimes cause more problems?
Well, again, I'm a millennial, and so I believe that's the wisdom of the great Christian theologian P. Diddy, who, as we found out over the last couple of years, is very much not a Christian or a theologian.
I think that was him trying to walk it back.
But
also, by the way, not his song. Also, by the way, he was a producer, but it's not his song. But Hector, I have no words. The great Christian theologian, P. Diddy. Yeah, no, I think we just need to clip the part where he says the great Christian theologian P. Diddy. I think I just need that.
See, I'm gonna get in trouble for all kinds of things.
Yeah, because you just quoted with praise somebody who was trafficking humans. As you go around to promote your book on coming back to Catholicism.
That'll be one of them. That will be in an attack ad at some point in the future.
Absolutely it will.
But okay, so again, to set the stage.
That's what gets you guys to call at the end of my show? That's what does it, huh? Thank you for calling the stream. Can I get your age, state, and who you voted for?
I'm 36 years old. Mohammed, calling from India.
You're in India?
Yes.
Okay. Could you vote in the U.S. elections?
No.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you calling in, but I only speak to people who can vote in the elections here. India runs actually very interesting elections, the way you guys run yours. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying interesting. I do not claim Sean Combs. I know, Black Jesus. I'm aware. That's not, no, we don't. Absolutely not. I just bully people. I don't. I had one call. I have one person today. But yeah, run that in the ads. That's your man? You're going to stick by him? Is that what you're going to do? Okay. All right. Let's see. We'll get into that on a day where we need that to be a good, Friday thing, I think. But we will see. Again. Donald Trump's truth that we read again on here, I'll bring it up again, on the Supreme Court birthright. He is touting as if there's some way to do it without a constitutional amendment. He is incorrect. He has not read the 194 pages, which include the fact that this was done on constitutional grounds. So that is going to be interesting to watch him cry about upcoming. I'm going to try and finish getting clips from Russell Vogt in front of Congress. We know that Donald Trump will come out and speak at some point. They're all going to be coping and seething for the next couple days until they are told something else. And they're probably going to come up and say, it's fine, we'll do something about it. I dare you. You cannot pass a constitutional amendment to save your life because you can't even pass a bipartisan housing bill. I'm sorry, excuse me, I'll correct myself. You passed it. You can't get your president to sign it because he's a big, big, wimpy baby. So that is what it is. Thank you guys so much, by the way. Hold on. Thank you guys so much for completing my goal out today on this Titties Out Tuesday. I appreciate it so very much. Thank you for getting us to 178,000 likes. I hope as many times as I yelled about it that you guys over on YouTube hit that thumbs up for me. I appreciate it. And anybody who is new, first time chatters and new over on Twitch, I hope you followed me. I would appreciate it so very much. Thank you guys so much for helping me build this community, for being a part of this community. I would not be here without you. I am so thankful that you guys are willing to sit here and listen to me ramble. I know I repeat myself quite often in the same sentence over and over. I know I'm not good at math, and that the fact that you guys are willing to be here every day and to support me, I appreciate it so very much. So thank you guys. I will be back tomorrow, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, whatever time that is for you, on all platforms. Who do we have to raid? Let's see if there's somebody to raid. Is anybody on? That is, I have to go to my other account because my backup account, I'm really bad about following people. That's not it. That's my gaming account. Make that one go away. This one. Okay. Ooh. Is that Queen? Yes, that is Queen. Queen is live, so I'm just here so I won't get fined. All right, so let me do YouTube and Twitch. I'm going to send you to RTP because I don't think Queen has her YouTube set up like that. So YouTube and Twitch. You guys are going to go to RTP. You guys will have a lot of fun over there, I'm sure. Tell them Monty sent you. Yay. They'll be so happy about that. You'll probably see me over there soon because what I usually like to do is watch the end of his and then restart it and catch up on the rest of it. So we can do that. And we over here on TikTok are going to raid Queen. So hold on, let me get YouTube and Twitch out of here. Can I sign your community service hours? Is that how that works? Ashby, can I? Legally? Am I allowed to?